Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So today we are here to celebrate our Hispanic heritage that we already know that is not only in the United States, through the world. So I want to say that our presence is evidence in any aspects of the society, not only in the United States, but through the world. So everything you can see in the family, in the work ethic, in the technology, politician, education, religion, spiritual practice, and many, many others. So this is very important to remind us that our presence is here, not since this time, but many, many generations before. So this is a great opportunity to be here to celebrate our Hispanic root. But we want to give the huge thanks to Reverend Richard to this idea, beautiful idea, to have the message today and invite a wonderful people like Sergio to be here in this message today. So thank you to the staff of Unity, and thank you, all of you magnificent, holy congregations. Unity exists, thank you to you all, and this is amazing. It is great to know that today, September 15, is the celebration of the Hispanic root, Hispanic heritage, but it's not only considered Mexico and North America, but it's Central America, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and South America, Colombia, Peru, Venezuela, Argentina, Chile, and many others. So all we are the evidence that here working and enrich our society. This is the beautiful thing to know, that all we are part of this mark, that we have the evidence working. How? Including the deep faith, the strong connection of family and resilience, ethic work, the delicious food, and the magic music and art that we are part. So all this contribute not only our society, but the community, the global community. So that is very important. Hispanic culture is rich and diverse. It's wealth in cultural experience and joyful celebrations, anywhere, any aspects, and continue to influence and enrich the global community around the world. So this is the essential part as our share our culture. As a Hispanic immigrant, I can say that to immigrate to this country or any other country that we choose is a challenge. We must to go over that, to overcome in order to achieve our dreams, our biggest dream. Because the most of us, the immigrants coming here for better life, for better situations in our life, economical and any others. So I believe firmly that thanks to these core values that characterize the Hispanic and Latinos, we are able to go through to all these situations in the world. Okay, so I want to give you a little bit about my story to telling you how I apply these values in my life. So it happened in 1998 when I came to this country for the problem that we was going through in Peru. In that time, Peru was having a very violent time, difficult time, where the group, the terrorist group named Shine Pat, was over the country. So in that moment, I decide to leave my country for better situations, for better life. When I came to this country, I didn't speak English. I didn't understand anything, nothing about the system in the United States. So I just came only because I trust my heart, because I know God is always with me. And I faced several challenges and many, many adverse times. But it was my faith that my parents teach me to believe in myself and to know that God is living me, not only live and acting through me. So that helped me to overcome to all these challenges. That values that my parents teach me helped me a lot in many aspects of these challenges. And I was able to go through. Other point important in my life, my family. Family, for me, is my strong connect, my strong bond. But in 1992, I faced other challenging, very difficult situation in my life. When I had a huge accident with an 18-wheeler truck that almost take my life off. But again, God wasn't there. And He's all the time. And He's in this moment, in this instant, with me and with all of you around the world. So my family connection is the most strong thing, even when they are far away. But the connection is there. It's so beautiful to know. And even with that, God is so good to know that if my family is not here, they put my family in my life. So that was the family where I was working as a nanny. Beautiful family with 4 children. I remember when I wake up in the hospital from the accident, I see this beautiful picture, but real picture, with a couple and the 4 children around my bed, giving love, giving me support, and tell me, Vilma, we are your family. We are here for you. So I knew instantly in that moment that God is present. So now with the technology and anything we have right now, because I live in the United States almost 36 years. And remember, in that time, we didn't have too much GPS. So now the technology is open, the technology is good. So now I am more connected, and we are more close. Other difficult time that I go through was in 2003, when I was diagnosed for thyroid cancer. And the doctor said, immediately surgery. But again, that was a very, very hard time. And I live alone in this country, but I have beautiful friends and families close to me. So it was a huge challenge, because I never thinking that I am going to have this situation. But God was present again. And doesn't matter how many times I fell and how many times I stand up with more desire, with more strength to do better all the time. When I encounter difficulties, I always thinking in my faith, in my strength, in my family. Because that is to help me to go through the challenges. And resilience. Resilience is the most beautiful thing that I learned to do, because we have to learn it. For me, resilience is do not give up easily. This takes time, and you need to do over and over. When I fail, I get up. I fail again, I do again. How many times? I don't know. I don't remember. But I believe in myself, and I believe in my dreams. So defeat is temporary. It's only in the time. But for me, it's the inspiration. It's the source of the inspiration. The most times I fell, the most I was better. So this keeps me moving forward and do the best. So all these situations, all these challenges, I live in there. I was present in there. And at the moment, believe me, it's not easy. It's very difficult. But when you have that muscle strong in your heart, that you believe in you, it's easy. You can see better. So almost at the same time, I had this huge problem when I lost my business. The business that I was doing with all my heart, with all my time. I lose all the money I invest. I lose all the work that I was dedicating to this baby that I was creating. And the most terrible thing, or the worst, the mistrust of my partner business. And my financial situation go down. But in that moment again, God was present. My faith that I have, believe in there 100%. Save me, help me, take me out, and do the best. So all these challenges are very difficult, especially if you like to go to the court and face by yourself. With these people, they treat you very bad and take your money, but and then they want to take you down in the court with all this that I might never have in my life. The first time in my life was in the court with these people. But again, God wasn't there. I apply all these beautiful values, all my family teach me, believing that God is within me and give me this strong belief that I am okay, that everything is okay, and the things happen for some reason. But the last challenge was, after I lose my business and everything, I started working, something happened in my health. So they turned this very bad situation. But when the doctors say that I say before surgery immediately about your thyroid, with all this hit working, the surgery never happened because the tumor dissolved itself with my work, with my faith, with all this. And that is because God is present in there. So when I felt bad, because in all this period of time, we are human and we always have these emotional things. Sometimes we are sad, sometimes the things are not coming out in the way you want. And we have, this is the emotional thing. We are human, beautiful human, but we are also a spirit, Holy Spirit. And years ago, I decided to walk in my spiritual way. I am a human, I understanding, I love myself, but I acting from my soul. Like Gandhi teach you, live on earth from your spirit. It's not easy, but we can try several times and something happened. So when I felt and sad experiences, negative thoughts, or I have my mood down, so what things help me? My music. My music. I believe the music is inside me. My music helped me to be better, to have a good time, to have a good remember the family gather, when everybody go together and have lunch. Or when we celebrate the birthdays, anniversary, all the family together. And not only our family and my parents and sisters, all my family, my grandpa, my grandma, my cousin, all together to celebrate it. So that is the strong bond that we have as a family. So music helped me a lot. And sometimes I call my friends, to the friends that I have in that time, to talk, to be in contact, in touch with them, and eat my Peruvian and delicious food all together. Because that I was missing a lot in the first time when I came to this country. So they cook for me, and we enjoy. And all this, the music, the food, the faith, my resilience, all this together, and my gratitude. The most, all this, I can close these beautiful parts with my gratitude. I am working in my gratitude years ago. And I am writing my second book about that, because that is the amazing thing I have. Gratitude heals you. Gratitude opens hearts, prosperity, abundance. It's amazing. But we have to practice and writing down every day your blessings. Since you wake up in the morning, before you go to your bed, put your blessings, counting your blessings, because it's the beautiful and the wonderful advice. So I hope I say something that you resonates on you. And now I wanted to invite my wonderful friend, Sergio, that he is going to continue with this beautiful message. Thank you.
Thank you, Vilma. She really lives her truth. I mean, this woman has such a beautiful, loving energy, and I'm so grateful for you for inviting me to be part of this today. So thank you, Vilma. My biggest message that I want to leave today is that Latinos are not all the same. We're not all the same. But I do love Latino stereotypes. They're actually kind of true and funny. For example, when I was growing up, a lot of my American friends had Velvet Elvis on their wall, and I'm a huge Elvis fan. We did have Velvet Jesus, along with probably 5 or 6 statues and candles of Mother Mary, because the mother energy and the feminine energy is very important in our home and in our culture. And I have my beautiful wife and daughter here, and my son as well, but the feminine energy I'm so grateful for. Latinos, we put a lot, weird coverings on our sofa, these big plastic coverings that would make our legs really sticky and sweaty and stuff. But what's nice about it is every few years you can look in and peel it open and see a brand new 10-year-old couch, right? All Latinos love lowered cars, but can you blame us? Because the average adult Latino male is 5'5", right? And I kid you, because we don't all like lowered cars. I've never liked a lowered car. And the actual average height is 5'6 3/4", so we'll give it that. Not all Latina women are named Maria. We have Vilma. Yes, my mom's name is Maria. My mom's sister, my aunt, is named Maria. It's true, 2 Marias are sisters. My mom is Maria Socorro. My aunt is Maria Genia. My dad's mom's name is Maria. My sister's middle name is Maria. Carlos Santana's muse is Maria Maria. And we can go on, right? But enough about stereotypes. I want to give you a little background on my story. My parents grew up extremely poor. My dad lived in a town about 2 hours outside of Medellin, Colombia, in a small rural village. They had 11 siblings, and they had a dirt floor. They didn't have real floors, so their beds were actually carpets on the floor, and there was 2 beds to share with the whole family. So as my dad being the 3rd youngest, when the rest of the older siblings left, he finally got to share a bed with one of his brothers, and the mom shared it with the other brother. His dad worked so far away that he only saw him every few years. My mom grew up in a town called Bello, which means beautiful. It's adjacent to Medellin, but my mom will swear to you it's the ugliest town in Colombia. And she grew up with 8 siblings. There was 8 siblings in her family. 4 of them passed away before the age of 2. My mom was younger than them, so she didn't get to meet them, thankfully, because that would have been a very traumatic experience, but she got all the stories from her mom and the pictures from her mom and dad. And my parents decided to move. By the way, my parents don't know Pablo Escobar, in case we want to keep going on stereotypes. Never met him. We watched Netflix, but anyways, my parents moved us to the United States when I was 2.5 years old, and we moved to Chicago. And one of my biggest memories in Chicago was watching my dad really try. I mean, he started as a busboy, barely speaking English, then a waiter, and then ended up opening up a restaurant with a couple of his cousins. And I didn't speak English, and they dropped me off in kindergarten. I didn't know if I was in a Japanese school, American school. I couldn't understand anything that was going on. And by first grade, I was still kind of not really understanding it or getting it, so they decided to put me in a second grade class because my older brother and my cousin were in that class, so at least I could talk to somebody. And I'm just so grateful for this teacher that really spent time and letting me color all day, but she would write words and teach me the words while the kids were doing their assignment. And that's really how I had learned English. And after a few years in Chicago, after third grade, we moved to the Florida Keys in Marathon, Florida. And my dad ended up managing a gas station. One of his cousins managed another gas station. Another cousin bought a gas station. I went to go work for him when I was 10 years old, and I've worked ever since. I've never not worked since I was 10. And one of my favorite memories in the Keys was the Cuban Mariels had come over in 1980. And one of my teachers asked, Sergio, you speak Spanish, right? I'm like, of course. She's like, can you please translate with some of the new Cuban kids? I'm like, sure. I went to talk to them for a little bit, try to have some conversation. About 3 minutes later, I came back, Miss Spencer, that's not Spanish. I'm like, I can't understand, I just can't help you. I mean, they spoke so fast, they chopped up words. I was talking about the school bus, and they call it a wawa. I'm like, it's autobus, wawa. What? And I just got so confused, and I really couldn't help them there. So a couple years later, we moved to Miami, Florida, and my dad now opened up a auto parts store, or auto parts business. And now this is high school in Miami as I'm going through. And remember, this is the 80s in Miami, and I remember saying I am Colombian. So after a few sports injuries, my knee and my ankles, playing different sports, I decided that drugs and alcohol were much easier and much more fun than rehabbing and trying to get back into sports again. So I got pretty heavy into partying, and my parents, somehow, being super open-minded and supportive, just said, listen, if you're gonna party, invite your friends here. Don't go out and get in trouble. You can have a house party here. They didn't know I was gonna invite 75 people, but hey. So my parents would go to my cousin's house, my aunt and uncle's house, and hang out for a couple hours, and then they'd come back around 12:30, 1 o'clock. And now the 75 people would go to about 25 or 30, and we're listening to rock and roll or rap or whatever. We listen to all kinds of music, but we're all sitting in groups talking. My mom's like, this isn't a party. So she'd come in and change the music and put on cumbia and merengue, and her and my dad would start dancing, and my mom is the one that actually taught me to dance cumbia and merengue. And so we would dance until about 2, 3 in the morning with the last 10 or 20 people that were there. And my mom, this amazing soul that she is, would say, is anybody hungry? And then she'd cook us arepas and empanadas at 3 in the morning. And my kids and my wife have been blessed with that amazing food. And so have many of my friends as I was growing up. In the summer before my senior year, my dad lost his business. And at the same time, I found out that the restaurant he owned in Chicago, the gas station he owned in the Keys, and then this auto parts business in Miami, he was taken advantage of by his partners all 3 times. As my dad became depressed, I became enraged. On my senior year and prom night, we were 2 couples in a limo. I beat the crap out of a guy in the limo and out of the limo, and I went to jail that night. So I spent that night in jail. As I was going through this anger and this rage and watching my parents struggle, I remember that life was just kind of became difficult, and I had no idea it was difficult until that period of my life. And my rage grew. I knew that we didn't have money to go to college. My older brother went to the Army. I was way too much of a hippie to go to the Army. I would never carry a gun or point at anybody. So I just decided that I'm going to work a lot. And I worked 2 or 3 jobs most of my life, and then went to school very, very, very part-time. And I was in Miami, and the company, I was designing watches. I'm an artist, so I was designing watches for this new startup company. We had investors that moved us to LA. And that lasted about a year and a half. And I was walking by a store, and I took my hand and just punched a store window, about as big as one of those windows there. As I pulled my hand out, my pinky came off and hung back here, and it was really ugly and stuff. So I guess I couldn't work as an artist for a little while. So my best friends from Miami who are Colombian, they did know Pablo, honestly, their mom did. And they moved to Chicago, and I went to visit them, because I couldn't work. And I went to a Grateful Dead show with them and never left Chicago. About 25 years, right? And I found myself at 24 years old, and I was a 3.9 GPA student. I had really good grades. I just didn't know how to apply for college and didn't really move in that direction, but I knew I wanted to go to school and finish. So I'm 24 years old. I'm getting up to use the restroom one night, and I'm 203 pounds without exercise. And I'm like, something's wrong with me. I just got so depressed. And I remember this, I was waiting tables at this restaurant, and there'd be the sign for a fitness challenge. It's a 4-month fitness challenge. You could win $1,000. I didn't think I was going to win $1,000, and I didn't. But I'm like, I'm pretty good in math in my head, so I'm like, if I can stay clean and sober for 4 months, I can save about $3,500 to $5,000. Because I was spending at least $200 to $300 every week on drugs and alcohol. So I'm like, $3,500 to $5,000, I can cure my anger and depression. How, you ask? A motorcycle. Like, if I could buy a motorcycle, all my problems will go away. I've been dying for a motorcycle since I was a little kid, since I played with Evel Knievel. Any Evel Knievel fans? Come on. I wasn't going to do the jumps, but I just wanted a motorcycle. And I was able to buy a motorcycle. I got clean. I lost 20-something pounds. I got fit. And I bought my first motorcycle from a woman named, I swear. That's another story for next year, but Maria was on, her husband was a corrupt Chicago police officer who was already in jail. She was on trial to go into jail and selling all his stuff. So I bought a really nice motorcycle for $3,000. It's pretty cool. So my first night, I'm like, okay, I haven't really ridden a motorcycle since I was a teenager riding mopeds. I'm like, I'm gonna wait till 1 in the morning. I'm gonna ride on Lakeshore Drive because it's right on the lake and it's the most beautiful and there's no traffic. So I'm riding on Lakeshore Drive at 1 in the morning and this is it. I just solved my problems. This thought came, my anger and depression are gone, I'm cured, it's over. And as soon as that thought came over, and I'm like, this next thought came from a slightly different space. It was more like a tap on the head with a wink saying, hey, dum-dum, it's not the motorcycle. It's the lifestyle you've been living for the last 4 months. And that was my first reintroduction, because in childhood you have it, and then we lose it. But that was my reintroduction to connecting to the divine and building a strong personal relationship with God, because that was God. And right there, that conversation was, go do this for yourself, and then go help others, because there's too many people struggling physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And from day one in fitness, my first was personal training, and then nutrition, then mindfulness coaching and meditation. But from the very beginning, I taught it as a very holistic practice, never just about exercise, never just about physical appearance. It was always, to me, about a physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being to live a healthier and more fulfilling life. And that's what I've committed my life to doing. And I was very blessed. I finally graduated at 31 years old from Loyola University in Chicago. My wife would drop me off and pick me up to classes because we shared a car. God bless her. Thank you. And I studied psychology, theology, and fine arts. I had a triple major. That's why it took me so long to graduate. That's another reason, right? But I wanted to be a spiritual art therapist. And God said, stay in this field. You're helping people physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and you need this yourself. You need to be in a field where you're taking care of those things and focusing on those things on a regular basis. So I've been very blessed. I've been able to work at the White House. I've worked with pro athletes, sports teams. I helped 700 truck drivers who need it the most to really improve their health. Was brought onto the Dr. Oz show. I built my own gym, had 3 corporate gyms, built a corporate wellness business, and then lost it all to COVID, all of it. But what I gained was much more powerful to me because I spent so much more time with my wife and kids at such a critical age that it's completely changed my life. They may have gotten sick of me and annoyed by me a little bit by being home so much and working from home now, but I'm so grateful for the time I spent with my wife and kids. I built a closer relationship to God by losing all this stuff because you realize it's not that big of a deal. And knowing where my parents came from and what I came from, this is still a golden opportunity in life to live a very fulfilling, rich life. So all this to say, we are actually all the same. All Latinos are the same. You and I are the same. All human beings are the same because we're all divine children of God. We all have the Christ consciousness within us. We just got to get it out and bring it and share it to everybody else. So I hope in some way, shape, or form, this message kind of lifts you up if you're going through something. You're never alone. We're all here for you, and I'm so grateful for this Unity community because I do feel so super united. And thank you, Richard, for what you do, and thank you, everyone. Bless.